the oath of office to protect, to serve against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's been a founding cornerstone for me growing up. I am a painted face. I am a warrior of the rainbow. I am of earth. I am a tribe of all people. I did not choose this. It was chosen for me. I would like to introduce Daniel Webster. For half a century, he's had his ears, eyes on the pulse, on the news of Siskiyou County as the editor, publisher, and author of numerous news publications across Siskiyou County. At the end of this afternoon, I'll be posting an article called The Tip of the Green Spear.
Published in 2003, sir.
And that should be required reading.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I would like to introduce Daniel Webster.
Thank you. I hope that you are all part of this conversation with me. You're welcome to use the comments below as we're going to give your opinions. Nothing that I say today should be taken and believed, shall we say. What I want you to do is you must make up your own mind what you believe so that it is a matter of your heart. We all act on things that are a matter of our heart. Therefore, if something that I say resounds and reverberates in your soul, then take it, make your own decision, make your own mind up, come up with your gut soul reaction so that it is part of you. First of all, I want to say, doggone it, we are all on the same page. We're all in the same boat. We're all rowing together. And when I say we all, I'm speaking of those along the Scott River, Salmon River, Shasta River, and Klamath River. We're all on the same page. We're all in the same boat. In fact, we have all been charged with two things. One, to protect our water supply. And number two, protect the livestock and the wildlife that God put within our charge to protect. We all are on the same page. I don't care whether you're an old hippie on the Salmon River, a rancher in Scott Valley, a homeowner along the Klamath River, a rancher over in Shasta Valley. We're all on the same page. How do I define that page? It's a line approximately where the Weed Airport is. And from that line south, the water all heads south. And it's going to go and make money and more money and more money as it's being transferred further and further along the line until it gets to Southern California. We, on this side of that line, approximately the Weed Airport, actually, we're all on water that is heading out to the ocean via the Klamath River. That's what actually defines us as being on the same page in the same boat. We all better get on that same page in the same boat, rowing together, or we're all going to lose it all. Now, a couple of concepts I want to quickly dive into that we need to actually consider. Greed. Greed is evil. Greed is taking something from someone else and making it yours because you want what they have and you want more. And greed always will lead to destruction. Why? Because greed is evil. going back to a movie, back in the 80s, 90s, whenever it was, when this notion of greed is good. No, that is wrong. Greed is not good. Greed is evil. So I say that because we actually need to process what is going on, process what we are seeing, process the entities and the people and their interests. And is there greed on their side? Because that then defines whether they're chasing evil motives or good motives. If you're chasing greed, it will always be evil. If you're chasing good, it will always be good. The other concept that I think that we really actually need to nail down before we get into some solutions is the concept of controlled opposition. It's a concept as old as time, and just like greed, going all the way back to the beginning, controlled opposition will destroy. It is actually used as a tool to destroy. From wars worldwide down to a spiritual or physical battle here on a local front, there is controlled opposition. You will find that there are some leaders that we are thinking have been leading us in this opposition to fight certain issues, in particular water, that actually are part of this controlled opposition. We think that they're on our side, and we have to step back just a brief moment to think through, are they really who they are? And at this juncture, after watching this all play out for a number of years now, we actually should have a fairly good gauge on who is controlled opposition based on what the results are of what they are opposing. Are they setting us all up to simply take a fall, or we think, oh, we're aggressively fighting, we're doing this, we're doing that. And lo and behold, it does no good. Did they get us to go to so many meetings, sign so many petitions, all these things that we think are so good, but it actually, in the end, did nothing? In fact, this community has turned blue in the face from attending meetings, signing petitions, filing little lawsuits that don't matter, all these kinds of things, writing letters to your congressman and all this stuff. No, all of that in the end is just part of controlled opposition. You're being forced to do that so that you take your eyes off the ball that you should actually be chasing after. We're going here rather than going where we should be going over here. That's what controlled opposition does. In fact, there is tremendous training, if you want to do research online, how controlled opposition works. And in fact, if you were to read through their outline of how to set up controlled opposition, you're going to go, oh, criminy. That's this person. That's this person. That's this entity. That's that entity. One of the classic examples, and I'm going to try my darndest to avoid using people's names, identifying folks, identifying organizations, etc., because that's part of, I want you to make that decision up for yourself in your mind and according to your heart. But let's use an example. The California Farm Bureau. All of my life, the California Farm Bureau has been an amazing part of fighting for what we believe in here, or so we think. And yet, if you step back just a bit and think through, but how is the California Farm Bureau in relation to me and here And are they acting as a controlled opposition here locally? What is the Farm Bureau's number one priority in California? Is it you? Is it you in Siskiyou County? No, it is not. They are more beholden to the world's richest down in the San Joaquin Valley that want our water so they can then sell it to Southern California. That is who is controlling the California Farm Bureau. So you think to yourself, this is just an example. Okay, so when they are doing things around here, are they working for the interests of folks in San Joaquin Valley or for the interest here? Because we can't do both, especially if down there they want our water. Now, another concept that I want us to get kind of a grasp on, and you remember that line I talked about there at the Weed Airport? Everything south heads south, all of our water heads out to the ocean. So, how in the world is our water going to get to Southern California? Do we have to build a dam, pipe it? What do we do to physically get our water down there? None of that. It's called paper water. It's the most bizarre concept in the world, but rather than buying water, the physical, actual water, we're actually now selling paper water. Let me give you an example. A developer down in Southern California that goes to the county supervisors or the city council and says, I want to do this development. And one of the first questions is there enough water to sustain that development? And they go, oh, yes, we have procured this water to take care of this development. And on paper, they show this little piece of paper, we have bought this water. Well, lo and behold, they're not actually buying the actual physical water. They're just buying a piece of paper that says, I bought this water. In fact, 8 times, and this was a statistic from a few years ago, 8 times the amount of water available in the San Joaquin Valley has been sold on paper. There is no physical possible way that that water could ever actually reach those who bought that paper. Why? Because it's not available. They've sold 8 times the amount of water available, and they can keep selling it and keep selling it. Our water here, which is now listed as a derivative in the derivatives market with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is turning into paper water. They don't actually need to get their hands on our physical water anymore. They need to get their hands on that flippin' paper and buy the paper. Therefore, that's why greed, a lot of cash is being dangled in front of water rights owners and saying, you can make millions upon millions of dollars by just selling this much of your water. And you then go, oh, well, all of my problems will be solved if I can just get that millions of dollars. It's greed. It's greed, folks. And greed is evil. So be careful on your controlled opposition. Watch everything carefully from the politicians that you think they're one of us. Are they really one of us? Or are they pretending to be one of us? Are the leaders of environmental groups, environmental issues, are the leaders of our protect our water, protect our Klamath, all these kinds of things, are they really one of us? Or are they just pretending to be one of us? Are they actually real estate brokers from San Francisco or something crazy like that, just up here pretending to be a cowboy? That's actually what's going down, folks. Now, and all of this controlled opposition ultimately is intended to divide us, folks. It's intended to divide and separate so that we're looking at each other as the enemy. And as soon as we look at each other as the enemy and we're fighting against each other, then we are no longer strong. We've been made weak. We can't fight this battle unless we're all in it together, in the same boat, rowing together. Okay? So, in my book, there's no difference from a old hippie on the Salmon River, a rancher in Scott Valley, a rancher out in the Salmon River, a homeowner, or somebody that cares about the flippin' fish on the Klamath River. There's no difference for all of us. We're all on the same boat. And we have been divided by thinking that each other is the enemy. We aren't the enemy. We need to come back together and look at ourselves as a community and see that our solution is going to come from being a community. Which leads me into one of my first solutions that I laid out. I mean, I wrote this book and published it 10 years ago. The Legacy Plan. Averting the Great Water War. We haven't averted it yet. We've made it worse. We needed to read this book. I detail it all in here. 10 years ago, I wrote that in 2014, folks. Okay, Jay referred to an article back in 2003. And yes, it's been a long haul of trying to open the eyes of our community so that we're seeing the big, big, big picture. Okay? Our enemy is not each other. Our enemy is actually the world's wealthiest, the richest folks and entities and corporations in the world, with billions upon billions upon billions of dollars that want our water. Why? Because our water is worth billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, even if it's just on paper. And in order for them to get their hands on our water, they have to destroy us. So no matter what side you're looking at, ideologically, here locally, in this community, we're all on the same page, because ultimately the goal is absolute destruction. Take our property values down, 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 until we turn into willing sellers, willing to sell out for pennies on the dollar because we can't afford to make it anymore here. And then those that have the most money in the world, those that, yes, the controlled opposition leaders are reporting to them, they're the ones that are going to be coming in and start buying all of our distressed properties. In fact, if I were to guess, there's a whole bunch of distressed properties right now along the Klamath River, around areas where there were dams and there aren't anymore. These properties are down to a small fraction of their actual value of what they were. These folks are literally selling for pennies on the dollar. And lo and behold, these folks up here are coming in and snatching up all of these distressed properties. I bet you if you were to dig a little bit, just a little bit, you would start discovering who that is. Okay? So back to the spiritual resource, spiritual solution. I believe water is one of our spiritual resources. I use that term. It's kind of a strange term, but I consider water, air, and soil to be spiritual resources. Why? Because God created these resources to sustain us. And if it's something that God created to sustain life, which water, air, and soil are all that, then therefore it is a spiritual resource. And with any spiritual battle or war, those battles can only be won on a spiritual level. Okay? If you're fighting for a spiritual resource, you must first start with fighting a spiritual battle. And folks, I'm challenging you right now. I'm challenging the folks that go to church and are more focused on what cookies are served in social hour than focused on praying about our water. That's what we have to do, folks. We have to take this battle down to a spiritual level and start praying. How do I know that that is not going on? Because an automatic result of us praying is going to be a revival start spiritually, folks. I'm telling you, and I'm not seeing a revival unleashed here in Siskiyou County yet. So I know that that is actually not happening. I know that we are more focused on the cookies than prayer. You can't win a spiritual battle physically. You must win a spiritual battle spiritually. Okay? And I'm going to leave that up to you then to decide how you believe you wage that spiritual war. The other solution is a legal solution. And I'm telling you, though, legal solutions must be the last resort. I am a firm believer that no one wins in any legal court case. Yeah, there may be money damages, or maybe this judge ruled this way, yeah, this, that, another. But ultimately, at the end of a legal case, everyone's life has been destroyed. It really has. No matter which side you are on, whether you're the winner or the loser, everyone actually loses in courts, folks. So to go to that legal solution has to be something you really, really, really know this is the final option, folks. And when you're going there and any type of legal battle, you have to consider you fight to destroy the enemy. You have to annihilate them. They cannot be standing at the end of the legal fight. You don't file lawsuits that are just silly and we're just, well, if we just nail down this issue. No. You have to fight to annihilate and destroy the opposition. That's how you win a legal case. And in the process, it's very ugly. People get hurt. Yes, people get destroyed. On a legal solution, there are some options. The one I throw out in my book, The Legacy Plan, is consider RICO. Now, 10 years ago, when I wrote this book, the notion of RICO wasn't too widely known. I mean, it was started back in the time when they were trying to take down the mob, and these laws were created to take down the mob. Okay, so that's the foundation of the RICO statutes. They are federal statutes. It is the Racketeering and Corrupt Organization Statute. And in that, you find an underlying crime. And in that underlying crime, and it gives you need to find this, and this to qualify for a RICO case. One of the ones I'm going to throw out is a possibility, shall we say, because I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice. And in fact, you would need to go consult a lawyer if you want to pursue this, and don't trust me on that, okay? But what I would consider as an example is a California Fish and Wildlife employee can't actually do something to take away a water right, a water property right, and then make money off of that water that they are taking from somebody else. That would actually probably qualify and get you into a RICO case. So if a Fish and Wildlife employee is adamantly working to take away my ability to have my water, and they're working with others to do that in a concerted effort, a corrupt organization, according to RICO. And there are at least 2 instances where they are doing this, and they're taking money and putting it into a federal licensed bank and then spending that money from the federal licensed bank. You've got RICO, allegedly, okay? So let me give you an example. On my ditch, for some odd reason, for what, over 7 years now, for some reason, there's been a huge fight all winter long over whether my ditch, a 100-year-old ditch with a court adjudicated water right, dictating my ability to have that water. For some reason, all winter long, there's no water flowing in my ditch according to the court adjudication. Why? Because some folks were wanting to make some money off of, their water. But in order for them to make money off of the water, they actually have to steal my water. And I did not give permission for them to take my water. So as soon as an agency employees or etc. are going and doing something to take my water from me so that they can make money off of it. Oh, how would the state Fish and Wildlife employees be making money? Oh, well, you just need to look and see what are the investments of the California Public Pension Funds, employees' retirement plan. What are they investing in? Are they investing in water? Have they decided that an investment in water is so lucrative such that it would be valuable enough for actual state employees to go and seize the water from people so that they can make money off of a pension fund? I would argue that that may be crossing the line into a RICO situation, folks. That is one of the legal solutions I would encourage you to consider. Ultimately and finally, I want to give you a warning, a very serious, personal warning. As soon as you launch any opposition or even start asking questions that are on the opposite side of the world's richest who want our water, okay, they will seek to destroy you in every way possible. My friends, you will lose best friends that you've had all of your life. You'll come home from church and think, those people were mean to me today. You'll come home from the flippin' rodeo and say, those folks at the rodeo were so mean to me today. You'll come back from a farm bureau dinner and say, those folks were so mean to me. In order to fight this battle, you must be strong. They're preying on your weakness. They're praying that you will care more about your feelings getting hurt than winning a war for our water. So if you want to engage in this battle, folks, I want to seriously have you consider there's a price for taking a stand. As with any good or evil, battle or war, if you're on the good side, folks, there's a price to pay. It may be your feelings get hurt. You may actually physically be harmed. Are you willing to bear that cost to save this community?
It's not going to be easy,
No, it's not, Jay.
but we can do it.
Yes, we can. I
This
know
is-
we can. We have a
this is-
very strong community.
This
And
is
if we come together, it's amazing. And they will not win against us. If we're all standing together, they can't. Our unity is how we win, Jay.
follow your gut,
Amen.
use your ears,
Amen. Thank you.
and learn. It's all out there.
Thank you.